just going to do a part 3 on Lucy Letby. Now, when the guilty verdict came in, being into conspiracy theories and things, my first thought was, this is, what are they trying to do? They've convicted someone without any evidence, and then my first thought was, this is a plan to somehow shake up the justice system. Maybe get rid of juries because they'll obviously prove that she shouldn't have been convicted guilty. That they'll prove that the jury made the wrong decision, and now they're going to get rid of jury. They're going to shake up the legal system, and we're no longer going to have a jury anymore because of this case. That was my first thought. I thought, what are they planning? Why have they done this? But then, I've come to realise, and this is true with a lot of so-called conspiracy theories, that you don't need to give society and people that much credit. Why put something down to a conspiracy when it's actually just down to stupidity and incompetence? From everyone. And that's something I've come to learn as I get older. You just seem to realise that people have got no idea what they're doing. It's all sort of fake it till you make it. And with this Lucy in prison situation, what is bugging me about it? Because innocent people are killed every day in wars and things. I'm sure innocent people are locked up every day. It's not the fact that she's been given this whole life sentence and she's in prison. It's what came up. The way that everyone, the persecution that everyone thinks she's a monster and evil. If she was if she had been taken hostage in Israel or something, or Palestine, if she'd been taken hostage, and everyone was rooting for her, concerned about her, I'd be happier than where she is now. Even though she's in probably a comfortable environment in prison, it's just the fact that everyone thinks, and there's so much out there saying about how evil she is and how much of a monster she is. And even if tomorrow the Prime Minister Keir Starmer came out and said, okay, we're going to issue some sort of apology, we're going to have National Lucy Day, here's the keys to the city, big apology, we didn't mean to throw you in jail for nothing, here's 100 million. It's not going to be enough, because there's still going to be thousands, maybe millions of people who are still going to think, well, probably wouldn't trust her to babysit for me. I find it difficult because of my job. I have to fill out police vetting sometimes, every few years, and they ask questions like, have you ever been involved in this or that? And sometimes you've got to put yes, and then it's like, can you explain it? Can you explain what happened? It's like, well, imagine Lucy putting that on her on her questionnaire. I've been convicted of killing 15 babies, but it didn't happen. People are always going to judge. Now, as for proof as to the Daily Mail podcast, I said before I found it a little bit biased because even though who's it run by Caroline, I can't remember her surname, and Liz Hull, even though they're journalists and they do specify that they're only giving out facts, but it's just the little spins that they put on it. I'm not sure if they actually mean to do it, or if it's just their way of it coming through in the production. But let's just go through a couple of things. So we start off around I've got some little pointers here. So here's their podcast.
Today we're focusing on more of the evidence from the parents of the children who were killed and harmed by Lucy Letby at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Now, we heard last week from some about what happened to them and to their children.
Okay, so first off, in the background we've got funeral music playing, and it just feels a little bit manipulative, if that's the word. What are they? It's not necessary. I don't know. I just feel a little bit manipulated by that. And it's about the Thirlwall inquiry, which, by the way, so basically they're doing an inquiry, and it's a very in-depth inquiry as to how these the hospital dealt with the so-called murders. So it's quite interesting that they're having to do a report on how this happened when it didn't actually happen in the first place. No one was actually murdered in the first place, but they're going to have to, they have to go through the motions of what they could have done. It's like I leave my door unlocked all the time, so it's like me doing a report onto how the house got burgled and what I should have done to prevent it. And I could do the report, and I could end with should have locked the door. But at the end of the day, I didn't actually get burgled. And the same with this inquiry. You can do the report as to what you could do differently to prevent murders, but no murder actually happened in the first place. So I find the way they do the podcast quite biased. It actually makes my blood boil, and I do struggle to listen. I can't listen to a whole episode anymore. So I'll only go through a little bit of it. So the parents are giving their testimony at this inquiry, and this is a bit of a strange thing. I was saying before, I don't understand the people who why people think she's guilty, and the parents seem to be I haven't yet heard of one of the parents say that they think she's innocent, because every time the media asks them and things, and the media will say please don't look into the fact that she might be innocent because it's insulting to the parents somehow. Well, not really. I've had relatives die of natural causes, by blaming the death on by saying someone came in and strangled them. Would that make me suffer less grief? I don't think it would. I think that would actually give me more grief than if my relatives had died of natural causes. I'm sure it would. So I don't quite understand this notion of leave the stop looking into it, and how it helps to lock an innocent person up. I don't quite understand how that would help the grieving process. But it's a little bit strange that we're hearing from the parents, because one, for some reason they're anonymous. I don't quite understand why that would be, why that would need to be necessary. But okay, so I was saying, the funeral music's a little bit manipulative. Now, this is an official report into a medical inquiry, and it says here, so I'm going to fast forward a bit, 2 minutes 40.
Later on, and as usual today, we're using actors to voice up their words.
Okay, so they're using actors to voice up the words. Just bear that in mind. Now, I'm just going to skip forward 5 minutes.
So we're going to take you through some of what we've heard this week, starting with the mum of baby H.
Starting with the mum of baby H. The mum of baby H. Right, so this is a medical inquiry, and these are about premature babies. If a mother was going into say an abortion clinic, that same sort of gestation of the child of the baby we're talking about, because they're very premature babies, would the medical professional be referring to them as the mum? Like I say, it just felt a little bit manipulative. Like I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do there. Why she's calling her the mum and not the mother. It's just something small there that I didn't really like. So the voices are done by actors for the parents. So
her a red box of her daughter's belongings just before she was transferred to Arrow Park Hospital.
It had a teddy bear on the top, and inside the box was a cot card and her wristband from the Countess of Chester. But then there was also, in a plastic bag with a white sticky label on the front that said, "For my mummy and daddy, kiss, kiss, kiss."
It's sort of... There's an Alan Partridge sketch where Alan Partridge gets a woman in to do they're doing a segment for Who Do You Think You Are? Where they look into the ancestry. And they get this woman to read out this sentence, but she reads it out. Who do you think you are? And it sounds like she's just been sexually assaulted or something. And I feel like the way they're getting the mum to read that was like kiss, 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 rather than just reading what the note said. There was it's sort of coming across with some sort of attitude of disapproval of the note somehow, like insincerity or something. Like I say, I just found it quite manipulative. I don't know, that they're supposed to be neutral and just telling you facts, but these little things are just slipping through on this podcast. I don't mean to pick on this one in particular. It's just I'm guessing it's like the most popular. What's this? They've got 4 million subscribers on YouTube, but that's people don't even listen to podcasts on usual. There's so many other platforms, so this would go out to millions and millions. So yeah, it just makes my blood boil listening to it. So I struggle. But I just want to talk about Now the parents, like I said, none of them seem to be interested in the notion that she might be innocent, and I would actually say that there is some notion of non-bias here, because if your child died of natural causes, you're not going to receive any help from the government or anything, as far as I know. However, if you've been a victim of crime, you are actually able to claim victim compensation. So, and there is, I believe, a civil claim going on for the parents. So I'm not sure if any of them have been paid out yet, but there are civil claims going on. So I would say, if someone is set to receive significant financial gain to have one opinion over another, I would say it would somewhat bias their opinion. Just something worth mentioning. I'm just gonna on that note, just gonna fast forward over 10 minutes.
Suspicions about Lucy Letby months before
Talking about the
were the
parents.
same doctors who reassured her that her daughter's collapses were normal. And she told the inquiry the year after baby I died was a blur, and she was eventually diagnosed with PTSD. She said her husband wished he'd died instead, and this.
So she was later diagnosed with PTSD. I mean, these do sound like victim statements. She could probably claim for compensation for PTSD. That would probably be quite a lot, which she would, if Lucy was completely innocent and the child was found to be died of natural causes, she would probably not be entitled to. Just something worth bearing in mind. But this is, I'm going to fast forward now to the this is the final straw on this podcast. I literally couldn't listen to the rest of it now after this, so here we go. Liz Hull and
Openness,
Caroline.
lack of information sharing, and the evidence we heard next from baby Kay's mum and dad also mirrored this. Now, baby Kay was so tiny when she was born at 25 weeks that her dad said her whole hand fit on his thumb. We know Lucy Letby tried to murder her by tampering with her breathing tube.
We know Lucy Letby tried to murder her by tampering with her breathing tube. I think I might have missed that bit in the trial. No, we don't know that Lucy tried to murder her by tampering. She was convicted. They said guilty, but we absolutely do not know this at all. So this is why I can't listen to this podcast anymore. And there is no going back for Lucy anymore with things like this. If you googled Lucy Letby, I mean, this is just a tiny minuscule fraction of what's out there as to how evil she is. I mean, when I talk to my relatives about it, when they don't know anything about the case, all they know is she's been convicted twice, and they think she's an evil monster killer. She must be guilty. She's been convicted twice. There is no going back. There can be no solution, no absolution. I think the only the only thing that's going to happen is somehow Lucy will disappear, if you know what I mean, and that will be the end of that problem. Because I mean, even googling her name, when I say this is the tip of the iceberg, there's so much out there with other crime podcasts and the way, I mean, let me just watch this. Lucy Letby news, The Sun, baby killer, the evil nurse. There's never monster. There's never gonna, they're never gonna be able to retract any of this. There's so much out there, and this is official stuff. There's already like so much AI generated stuff that just regurgitates all this. There can be no going back. I mean, I admire David Davis for sticking his head above the parapet, as he called it. She is in. I mean, she's no more guilty than you or I. When I say she's innocent, I don't know her, but I mean, there's no evidence of any guilt. But there can be no going back. I mean, what are they going to do? How are they going to retract all of this? And are they going to claim the money back off the parents who made these lawsuits of more than 60 million? How are they going to get that back? And there is no going back. I think that's it for her.